Hi everybody. Tonight I am going to do a process video. I posted an alcohol ink piece on my social media and a few people asked if I would mind doing a process video, so I thought, well, I'm going to take a stab at it. It is going to be a 12 by 12 piece of UPO that I cut to fit on a 12 by 12 wooden panel like this that I got from Michael's. Just a simple basic wooden panel, and I'm gonna glue it on and then paint the sides and then let the alcohol ink play on the paper, see what we come up with. So let's get started. Thanks. So we're going to use Pinata Mantilla Black and Ranger's Copper Mixative. You really have to shake this up quite a bit. Isopropyl 91% alcohol that I put in a little bottle, and then I have it also in this bottle with a tiny needle point, which helps for some of the finer detail. And I use my Tack Life heat gun, which is very versatile, but I keep it on about 120, sometimes 160 is the most highest temperature I'll use to manipulate the alcohol in the ink. Okay. So, the main way that I get these mixatives to do what I want them to do is I use a good bit of isopropyl. It takes a little longer. You got to be a little more patient because it takes a minute for it to evaporate, and it's easier to lose your composition and what you're doing because you're having to keep it so long. But if you want this mixative to kind of stay on the surface and blend where you want it to blend, you got to give it something to work with. Typically when you drop a mixative onto your canvas, it just sinks to the bottom and you're stuck with a blob on your paper. If you give it a nice base to float on, you got a little more wiggle room to work with. Put on some gloves really fast. And let's see what we can come up with. Okay. All right. Another thing I always do is I put down my puddle of alcohol, I drop some of whatever color I'm using, and then I put this in my hand. I use my heat gun and I start to manipulate it around, and then I drop my mixative where I want it while I'm doing this process. Kind of keep it all flowing. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna do my little puddle and drop a couple drops, move it around a little bit, and then throw in my mixative. I take the heat gun and I am literally like making a lot of decisions. Do I want hard edges? Do I want soft edges? Do I want a deeper color in the center? Do I want to shove it over to the side? So the whole time I'm watching the color form on the paper while I'm moving it around with the heat gun, and pretty much letting the ink flow the way that the ink wants to flow, but shoving it in the direction that I want it to go at the time. So I got a few splatters of ink on the far right there, but I'm not really worried about them because this particular ink, at least the black, is easy to remove from the UPO. I mean, literally, you can drop alcohol on it and rub it with your finger and take a tissue and wipe it completely clean. So here, I decided I wanted a little softer edge. So I'm taking my little bottle with the needle point, and I am dropping some alcohol right along the edge, and then using the heat gun to keep it from forming another hard edge, and just sort of just blending it to the end of the paper just to kind of soften it and it not all be dark hard edges. Another little tip, put your finger over the tip of your alcohol bottle as you are applying a new puddle to keep it from spitting alcohol across a part of your piece that you've already formed that you really don't want to disturb, because a lot of unnecessary dots of alcohol can be prevented just by putting your tip of your finger over the bottle as you tip it over your piece. That's, yeah, a little tip. And also, I do want to say that I am by no means an authority on this topic or an expert. This is how I like to use mixatives. There are a lot of other methods that people use that are fantastic. I'm sure that I've seen a lot of people, use it with putting some in a container and adding alcohol, and then just using a paintbrush and doing lines on your piece, which is fine. I just prefer this more organic feel. It to me it gives this molten metal look to the piece. It's just a personal preference. I like the way the finished product looks, because I do love the organic nature of how alcohol inks behave, and this just my one of my favorite ways to use the product. So now I'm going to fix those little splatters of the black ink that I did when I first started the piece. This literally, I'm going to take my finger and just rub it a little bit just to reactivate that ink that had been dried on the paper. But now it's gone. You can't tell it was ever there. It's an easy way to fix a mistake on your paper. Okay, so if you have made it this far with me, I just want to take a moment to thank you for watching. If you noticed at the beginning of this video, I was rather uncomfortable, very awkward, as I tried to, do a little opening and actually show my face. This is definitely a difficult thing, but I would like to continue to do videos. So if you would subscribe to my channel, that would be amazing. I had to do this narration because as I was recording the video initially, my husband started playing with our two giant schnauzers, so there was a lot of barking in the background. So I had to do this little overlay of a narration to kind of explain what I was doing as I created this piece. I love this medium. Every piece that I do, I fall a little more in love with alcohol ink. There's so much potential. There's so much you can do with it. This is just one type of painting that you can do with alcohol ink, but I love the organic nature of it. The finished product is just there's so much to see. You all you do is look from corner to corner, and you see new folds and new images, and it's just an amazing art form. I did not show how to finish the piece off. It is a good idea to cover your alcohol ink piece in some sort of UV protectant. Alcohol ink can fade in direct sunlight, so any kind of UV protection is a great idea. I do use a couple of sprays, Kmar varnish first to seal it, and then a UV spray over it. But that's just a good idea to finish off your work. Okay, I think we're gonna call this one finished. I think I like the finished product. I'm gonna take you down and see if you can see this. I think there's a little too much glare, so we may move across to the other side of the room. I think maybe you can see it a little better here. I'm gonna go down close up. Sorry, I'm shaking the camera. These look much better when you take the pictures with natural light, but we're in my basement right now. But that is how I wrangle mixatives and get them to do what I want them to do. So there you go. Thanks guys for watching. Bye. Okay, I took you outside. I think the brown carpet may be giving it a weird brown tint to the ink, but I think the natural light will help us see all the detail, if nothing else. So let's take a look. So here you go. That's my rendition of how I use mixatives with alcohol ink. I hope this has been helpful, that you enjoy it. Please subscribe to my channel, and I hope you have a great day. Bye!